But hey, hour two. Starting our final hour of the show, and we're talking more culture. And we're going to tie Michael Jordan's ownership and selling of the Charlotte Bobcats / Charlotte Hornets to the BET and BET changing ownership and what's going on with BET. Over to Parlay Pete to pick this back up. Let's get it.
I think with the BET idea of it being sold is a big deal. But my point, even in general, how I could see the potential of if somebody bought it and did the right thing with it. I look at all the content that does get curated. It would, in a weird way, even if it turned into more of a social media platform, right? Like kind of like ESPN still gets watched on TV, but they have such a presence on social media. Somebody could flip BET and do the same thing to where BET owns Joe Budden's podcast. I'm not going to say no jumper, but my point being something like
Hell no.
I'm not saying no jumper, but I'm saying everything that's like it that falls under it.
Hollywood Unlocked.
But if they made those TV shows and instead the clips, like with ESPN, go online, maybe those guys lose creativity, but you're able to, if somebody's got a big enough wallet, they cut them the check and they make that brand fall under their umbrella. It could be such a lucrative thing. And then there's a news network maybe created because it is its own network and it has its own distribution. It could really be a powerful thing if done correctly, but the right person would low-key have to own it. Like Oprah would almost need to fucking team up with whoever it is in a weird way because she already has such a reputation in her own network too. Like
Oprah
I don't mean like a Tyler Perry Oprah thing either. I don't.
Yeah, Tyler Perry is one of the people.
Monique has got a lot to say about that.
Well, here's the thing, right? I like the idea that you have, right? Somebody buy BET and you legitimize it as a media hub for Black America. You bring in the Shade Room, all that bullshit.
Boo-boo.
Hollywood Unlocked.
Hey, for us, by us, nigga.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like
you bring in some legit news networks. You bring in some good podcasts. You just bring in all these different pieces of Black culture and you put it under that umbrella. I think that's a great idea. The problem is who's going to buy it and who's going to operate it. And the two names we've heard are Diddy and Tyler Perry. I think Diddy is a better reflection of modern Black culture than Tyler Perry is. So if either or are going to get it, I'd prefer Diddy buying it, even though I think Diddy can lean into too much street shit that I don't align with, that I think is bad for Black culture. But I also think Tyler Perry is he's a Hollywood liberal, and that ain't Black culture either. But I'd rather somebody Black own it than like Viacom.
But all right, so let me tell you, let me give you a breakdown kind of how I can see it. It really needs the right CEO, but you could bring back your originals, what made BET popular when it was popular. Like you could bring back your Rap City / 106 in Park, but it'd be different.
They're more podcast like conversation shows.
More of that, but at the same time, you could also have shows like Atlanta by Childish Gambino being put on there instead of FX. You could have the Boondocks instead of being on Cartoon Network being there. You know what I mean?
You can bring back.
The thing is that if you get the right ingredients, why can't it be a terrific dinner, bro? Like I don't know, like it. Now look, pizza and macaroni, in my opinion, don't go together. And that is not something I would want to go out to a restaurant and get a side of macaroni with my pizza. But I like both things, and they both have cheese on them, and I'm lactose intolerant. And there's like a lot of stuff that doesn't work about it. But if curated the correct way, you can set it up to where, okay, we have pizza for lunch, but we have mac and cheese as a snack at 5 p.m. Just a little bit of like you could set this stuff up correctly and realistically do it the right way. If you can get the shows like a Childish Gambino doing it in Atlanta, but it's on BET's new network, owned by whomever. Like you could really set this up correctly. And you would get VH1 too, so that could still remain that. Like VH1 could be the filth of the internet, but you can make BET a little bit more legitimate, and you could Netflix shows. I know BET Plus, they do their own TV shows, but like you get the right people, you could do it. So I just don't understand if there's somebody with enough money to do it, you could literally make this like a very much so popular network. And then I'm not saying the NBA gets involved, but I'm just simply saying like they could make this a little bit better, man, than what it
I,
is.
I think you're asking for.
I'm ambitious about this, and
I
it
think
ain't
yeah, no. I love the idea, but I also think you're asking for something that creates a level of Black unity that doesn't exist today in Black America. I don't know how we could get
it
that
may never
right.
exist either.
Well, no, it will never exist because, bro, there's no such thing as white unity. Only in the Black community do we ask for niggas to be aligned with one another on all these major topics.
Right.
When when our backgrounds are different, our finances are different, and so on and so forth, right? So it's fucking nuts. But I got a question for you.
Go for it.
Are you gonna bet on the WWE now that they're trying to open it up to
Ah,
gambling?
the fuck out of here. No.
Like it. Arian Foster said that the NFL had a script. I didn't believe that, although I do think that leagues have their interest and they try to promote their interest. Betting on false events is money laundering if I've never seen it before. You know what I mean?
Go ahead.
It's the easiest way for whoever is hosting that money, whether it's the WWE, whether it's the gambling houses, to just take money and just make it something that it probably doesn't have to be. But they can. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because you can manipulate the books to make lines a certain way, to make winners a certain way, match length a certain way when you already know the answer. And the fuck, you're an idiot if you bet on that shit.
How soon do you think you can get this out of curiosity?
With this pot,
Yes.
I plan to, as soon as we get off of here, to cut it and put it out. I ain't gotta go to work tomorrow. My wife just woke up.
We got actually an opportunity to do picks. That's the crazy part.
Oh shit.
And here we will talk about it. I mean, I don't have to do the picks, but like we did, bro. March Madness.
Now it's March Madness, and yeah, you could put out some picks.
It. I'd be more willing to give out my bracket picks as opposed to like, because outside of if you don't get it in tomorrow, because think about it, these games start at 12 o'clock. One of my favorite parts about March and March Madness is that people are going to bars at 12 o'clock, and tomorrow's St. Patty's Day, right? So like, it's like this thing, but like, you start talking about you can go out and fucking, bro, be getting blitzed during lunch. Like, do you plan on going to a bar tomorrow at any point? I mean, I don't know what you have planned with the wife and the kids, but like,
I hadn't thought that far, bro. I live in Albany.
like if Albany State was in, they're D2, right?
Bro, I just haven't thought that far.
Could you imagine if Albany State was Kennesaw and they were playing like what the
Yeah, bro, I would be at a bar. I'll be at a bar having the time of my life.
But they could get waxed by 30 and like everybody's just there. It's just like they still representing type shit. Like,
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just like when Morehouse plays against anybody in a sporting event, you don't expect the things to win.
You know what's funny about Morehouse too?
They're asking you for some more money.
So I don't get emails. I get like pieces of mail.
Yeah, I get emails and I ignore them.
They send mail to my dad's house because they'll send it basically me, two of my brothers, and him. It'll address us, all of our names. It'll just be separate little packages, and like they'll basically be like, yeah, donate. Like, and it's just like, here's the thing. there's nothing wrong with it. And I've always looked at it this way. My dad has donated to the school before, and not just from us going to school there, right? Like my dad's made donations because I asked him the other day. It wasn't the other day. It was probably like it's a few weeks ago when they were just in the SIAC, like their conference tournament Final Four. And matter of fact, it was the last 2 weeks ago when we did the podcast.
And you went to the game?
There, but I told you I was at my dad's house. We were watching the game, and so I asked him then. I was like, "Pop, have you ever donated to Morehouse, like actually giving them money?" And he said, "Yeah." And I wasn't surprised, but I also was like, I don't know, like I don't have an issue with giving money back to Morehouse. I feel like I would rather do it in a different way, though. I don't think that I just want to cut them a check, low key.
Yeah, no, I would rather sponsor
and a scholarship or some shit.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Yeah, like I don't.
Yeah, I don't trust them niggas.
I would rather sponsor a scholarship. I always had the idea of doing one and naming it after my mom and doing it for a person who has a sick parent that's in school, and that's what qualifies you. And if only one person, because I know how hard that can be. Like, so like if only one person applies for it, then they're gonna get the money. Like, or if it's five, or maybe if I moved enough and I've got enough money, like I will, let's say the donation was gonna be $15,000 or something. I would be willing, if 3 people did it and I was touched by all 3 of their stories, I'd just split it, give them 5 each. Like, something like that. Like, I would much rather do that than to just cut a check and send it to Morehouse blindly. Like, I don't want to do that.
I think that's dope. And I also think that if that's something that you're serious about building, it's something that could happen. And
really,
and it's an easy fundraising opportunity to bring the money in to actually set that up, because you're speaking to a voice of college students that aren't heard from often because of what you experienced. I know some other people who had similar experiences, and getting through college after losing a parent, bro, I can't fucking imagine it. But like those of you who did it, yeah.
Yeah, and like it's not one of those things, like even for me, like I don't even look at it like as, and I'm not saying that's the way you're making it sound, but like I don't even look at it like a badge of honor, like any type of like,
Bro, I know you don't.
I know how to get through something tough or whatever. But like it's like more of one of those things where I think that your focus gets redirected so quickly, and depending on your home situation, I'm glad that like my dad and we had everything. It's not like I came from this broken family, and not that it has to be a broken family, but like I didn't come from this.
You have to go be responsible for your family.
Yeah, to where I felt like I needed to step away from school to work, to handle something. Or I had younger siblings, just as he was at the time, was my only younger sibling, and he was a senior in high school. So it's like, it's not like one of those things where, man, there's my mom, there's a lot of weight that I need to pick up. Like,
yeah.
And then my dad being a man too, like me, even from an emotional standpoint, I mean, it's made a better relationship with my dad today because we had a relationship, of course, prior to that, but at the same time, I get to see a different side of him because it's different. It's just different in that, like, because he no longer has his wife or whatever. Like, you have to deal with, like, that's like the stuff to me, even in my situation, like, you have to deal with that stuff. And it's not like I didn't care to see my dad talking to other women. What bothered me was the type of women he was talking to. It wasn't, you know what I mean? It was never that psychologically like, oh man, like, what were you cheating on mom? It was nothing like that. It was just more on some, damn, I got to worry about myself. I'm 19 years. I just turned 19. and I got to worry about my mom being dead and my classes, maintaining friendships and stuff. I don't want to drop out. Like, I don't want to do all this other stuff. But I also am like, man, what the fuck are you doing? Like, it's like a lot of stuff that goes into that. So I think that if at least your college and the money can go towards it. Most people get money if as long as their parents have life insurance, right? Like most kids, depending on how many kids,
Niggas don't have life insurance.
huh?
Niggas don't be having life insurance.
I know, but even more of a reason why this could be so helpful.
And no, like you're saying this, and like this is a not podcast conversation. I think there is a place to build something
for sure,
and I'm open to supporting you in this in any way that I can, because I think if we just take 365 days, a couple of conversations, and just our friend group to like get a ball rolling, I feel like that could turn into something really,
and,
really.
and then that's another thing too. I mean, we've all been affected. I mean, at least in my case, and I know Julian's grandmother, but most people in the world, we've all been affected by cancer one way or another, and that's specifically what my mom died of. But like another aspect of it, what I wanted to do, because I wanted it, my mom went to Clark, so I wanted it to be an AUC thing, whether that be to start, at least to start, $5,000 at Clark, $5,000 at Spelman, $5,000 at Morehouse. That's something that I wanted to do. But even now, even for me too, I've lost another person to cancer as well, who's very important to Morehouse College, and that's Grady Brewer. So like these are like two people. Grady Brewer introduced my mom to my dad. Like
shit.
Yeah, like they met. That's how my parents met. So like he's a very important part. Obviously, he's the coach at Morehouse for 20 plus years. He's another person who I would want to honor within this. If there's going to be a donation of some sort going on, but it's something I really have always wanted to do. I think that my mom would be really proud of it because she's the most selfless person I know. Like, and Coach Brewer was always a helping hand for me on campus because I could always go to him and he could, anything I wanted to talk about, Coach Brewer would talk. Like, I mean, whether it was my dad, like anything, he was somebody that honestly on campus, he always had my back. And I knew that.
It's 2023, right?
Yeah.
Let's make something happen by 2025. Let's fuck the microphones, fuck the podcast shit. Let's sit down. I've helped. I love shit like this. It's one of like my things that I actually like care about, like helping people, like especially like young people, figure shit the fuck out. Like, let's take some time. Let's sit down and actually, because it's your passion, right? Like you're coming from it. It's your passion, right? But let's figure out how to channel this passion into just not us having a conversation on a podcast and some shit you got in your head, and like figure out some shit that we can put on paper. Because just from the locker room, niggas will throw a donation just because of the cause, right? And then our networks can bring the money in, and you throw a couple of events, little fundraiser here, little fundraiser there.
I look at stuff like this, even here currently where I am, right? Like we're gonna do for Boink's wedding, we're gonna do, the boys are gonna be here.
But that could be the trial run for something, because you could put something together at your crib, silent auction. I mean, fuck. You could put a set of tickets out.
This is one of the best parts about it. This blank walls in here. I live in what now I consider the art district of Atlanta.
Ooh, artsy.
Yeah, we could get a bunch of people to put their art up, and maybe depending on how much the art is, maybe
I need 20% of what you make.
And that be that. And it all is donated to a scholarship for a kid that has to deal with an ailing parent or guardian or Maybe
Victim,
it's a brother. Maybe it's a sibling. Maybe
victims of grief.
it could be anything. Just
Yeah.
in regards to that, just having to deal with it, and it's basically a "don't stop now, keep going" campaign for a scholarship for that child, so that
Well,
they don't stop doing what they're doing to where they have to think that they have to take on more or that. And look, it's okay. They could emotionally, if they have to take time off, they can take time off. That scholarship's still waiting on them once they're ready to go back. As soon as they're ready to go back, as long as they let us know, it's there. And like that's like that is something that I really have. I've always wanted to do it. I really have. I've always wanted to put something specifically in my mom's name, but it's not. It's bigger than my mom. It's bigger. It's bigger. It really is bigger than that.
it's people like you. What you went through and what you experienced, you handled it at a very high level. And I'm not saying that because I'm looking at you like, you nigga, that should happen. I was around ish when it happened, but I also know when you were
Most
supposed
people
to
didn't
finish.
even know,
I
really.
knew when you were supposed to finish Morehouse, and I know when you finished Morehouse, and like that you finished when you're supposed to finish, despite what happened in your life.
Yeah.
And I know other people who handle the same thing differently. That's a period. Also, you need to start a fucking nonprofit so that
You, well,
the
yeah,
yeah.
naturally.
So yeah. That's another conversation.
I
I'm
don't want
not
anyone
going.
to rush me, especially if I really, whether it's business or gambling or both combined, if I were to get to that point in life and then like somebody trying to rush me, you know how they try to rush me.
No, yeah, but no, exactly. No, there's a conversation, and
I don't want
because
to get
you're
rushed.
my guy, and you're talking about like nonprofit work and shit like this. This is shit I fucking love. I am going to insert myself into helping you with this venture. Um,
We could set up. You know, it's funny. Or it's not necessarily funny, but like we could set up even for the first time that like whatever that fundraising event or whatever it is where we MC an event and it not be us necessarily talking about sports necessarily. I mean, maybe there could be a little innuendo with that, but like it be, but basically we hold a show, but we bring people over that are donators, people that have their
yep,
own,
yep,
and put shine a spotlight on that as well. And we don't have to get they don't have to get into the dollar figures and all that and the third or anything, but basically just highlight the work that they're doing and why it's so important and continuing to put the spotlight on it and getting more people to donate and help with it too and realizing that vision that it is that they want to get realized.
yeah. I am definitely with that, and I actually look forward to being sober and it's not 2:30 in the morning or whatever fucking time. What time is it?
Well, that's three, brother.
3. Yeah, I look forward to having this conversation sober and like at a decent hour. Couple house cleaning things. I will be up that way Easter weekend. I don't know what my schedule. I'm going to a baby shower.
Okay.
I'll let you know. I'm going to a baby shower.
Did you
Uh,
did you realize? I know that we're still on, but did you realize too that Gamble's wedding has officially changed? I'm going to
yes,
see Gamble's tomorrow. Gamble's is here.
good. Yeah, get information out of that motherfucker because
Yeah, well,
he's
we're going out. We're going. Apparently, we're going to the Warriors.
Hawks
He
game.
he's. We could talk about that briefly off air. Did he send you what he needed to send you? Out of curiosity.
No,
Okay. All right. Same.
I ain't tripping.
I mean, me neither. I don't
No,
care, but I'm gonna see him and I will ask about it. Like,
yeah.
I
There's
just
nothing
want
wrong with
to ask
that.
about it. I'm not. It doesn't bother me. Like,
Yeah, I, yeah. Anyways, hey man, look here, great show, Parlay Pete. Man, I know we got started late, and we still did like a fucking full show, and we left some topics out here, but that's kind of just how it works. Um,
I think we'll be
but
back on next week to where it can be a
yeah,
little bit more. I know that the last 4 weeks we've only had two shows, but I think next week we'll be able to put together another one, and it'll be a little bit,
Absolutely, but the way we ended the show was something that is way bigger than what this show is, and I'd rather continue that conversation privately so we can actually put some of those words to action in the near future and set that groundwork up. So, hey guys, be looking forward to us begging for your fucking money for a great fucking cause because kids need education and kids who go through shit they need fucking support. um and sometimes they're not going to ask for it because they got pride or whatever the fuck their reasons are, or they
Well, they
just don't.
think they can do it on their own, and
Yeah,
maybe
like,
maybe they just need a little bit of help and to realize that you don't have to do this alone. I mean,
yeah, no, like,
you can do it another way.
absolutely. So hey, I'm so happy you brought this up. It makes me feel better about being awake at 3 a.m. on a Thursday night.
Friday morning, sir.
Yeah, Friday morning. And I didn't even shout out Janae Eiko because her birthday was Thursday yesterday. That's why I wore this for Women's History Month, you know.
Shout out to Big Sean. That's a lucky motherfucker. But
Yeah, you shout him out. I ain't gonna shout it.
well, you look, you got yours. I don't
Yeah,
have.
yeah, shout out to Big Sean. Yeah, nah, yeah, he did
Shout
that.
out to Big Sean.
Yeah, he did that.
He did a good job.
Yeah,
He
shout out to him. Shout out to him.
did a good job.
Anyways, anything else, Parlay Pete?
In case I don't see you, damn, I fucked that up. I was gonna do the greeting from the Truman Show. He's like, good morning. They're like, good morning, Truman. He's like, good morning. He's like, in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. And then he's like he just like smiles his ass. It's like a meme. Him doing that part is like, I mean, it's like